Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 1452, written by Ryan, the Baseball Enigma. Never thought I would share this, but about 10 years ago, I went to a local minor league baseball game when I was about just 16. I still go to the games to this day, but something pretty weird happened with this game. I was at the pool pavilion for this game, and I spent a good amount of time in said pool. It was a bit later in the game, and there were hardly anyone else in the pool by that point. The home team hit a home run over the pool, and I believe it bounced off the roof. I didn't catch the ball or anything. I was excited to think it would probably show up in the highlight reels online. So here's the weird part. I get back home and grab my laptop and search for recent highlight videos from the team website, and I watch the highlights from that day. Lo and behold, I did show up in the video, as it showed the home run going over the pool pavilion. What struck me was when the commentator randomly exclaimed my name. At first I was like, okay, well, it has to be a coincidence. Surely, the name of the batter who just hit that home run had to have the same name. Nope. His name was not even close to it, nor anything that sounded even remotely similar. In fact, no one on the team had the same name as me. I replayed it about 5 more times to make sure I wasn't crazy, and he randomly exclaimed my name when I showed up in the video by myself in this pool. I couldn't think of any other reason why in the world he would be saying that. We do not know anyone who works with the team or know the commentators that were at this game, so I decided to show it to my parents. I didn't tell them about that part because I wanted to see their reaction. So I go into our kitchen and tell them about how I appeared in the highlights, so we sat at the table and watched it. As soon as that part of the video played, and the commentator randomly exclaimed my name when it appeared, I noticed my parents look at each other confused like, what did he just say? They never said anything, but were a lot quieter now, and I could tell they were just as dumbfounded as I was, still having no clue what that was all about. Case file 1452, the Baseball Enigma. You know, one thing I realize I'm really lucky to have is my parents. They're very open about thoughts beyond the normal. If this happened to me and I showed the video to them, there wouldn't be silence. We'd try to dissect what on earth happened with each other. What are the logical possibilities and so on. More on my dad's side there, that I get that from, but my mom is also interested in the supernatural, maybe more esoteric. Less specific causes and reasons why things can happen, but still very interested in it, and believing in it. So could this have been as simple as the commentator randomly picking out a name and it just so happened to be yours? Perhaps. Maybe something guided him to precisely be your name. Something influenced his subconscious. Bonus file, written by Wasteland Mutt, when the night takes a dark turn. Recently, I got a dog. Despite working long hours and having 2 children at home, I tried to do a 1-hour walk with the dog every evening. This is often after 8 p.m., so with it being winter now, it is already dark when I leave. I live in a rural village with some walking trails that run alongside a stream and between agricultural fields. During my walk this night, my dog was suddenly startled by something. She's a hunting dog, so I'm used to her following her nose and running around me. That's why I have such a self-retreating leash. But suddenly, the dog starts running away until the leash is pulled to the maximum. However, she continues to pull after some corrections I gave. I don't pay special attention to the environment around me when I walk, I just look at the path and listen to some music. But I felt something was wrong. As I turned my gaze towards the field, I saw in the moonlight something in the distance walking on 4 legs, which at first sight looked like a deer to me. But when I got about 50 meters from me, it suddenly stopped and just stood straight on 2 legs and looked at me. Reaching about my height, 1.8 meters, suddenly I was cramped with fear. It felt like it could smell my fear and that of the dog, but the silhouette of its head did face me, as the dog stood some 5 meters from me, still floundering with its collar. Not really knowing what to do, I just stared back at it. Where I live, there isn't really a lot of wildlife that I know of. I only know of deers that live there, and I've only encountered a fox, hedgehog, and a hare before. But the dog was more intrigued by these encounters and didn't run away then. She wasn't afraid of cows or horses in the meadow either, but this was something else. She really wanted to get away from this. After a minute or two, I tried to take my torchlight and face it towards it, but it didn't provide enough light to see what it was, and just made everything darker around me when I got my eyes used to it. Another 3 minutes passed, just looking at the vaguely thing in the distance that still stood straight up, until suddenly a car showed up in the distance on a nearby road. The thing hopped back on 4 legs and ran off. Regaining my courage after some time, I still had to walk 20 minutes home. It was the worst feeling of my life. I don't know if I'm gonna walk my dog again, especially not that route. What really makes me uncomfortable, I recently dreamt that something attacked my dog, and when it wanted to face me, I woke up totally in sweat and started hyperventilating. I really hope it was just a deer or something, but I don't know if a deer can stand straight up for about 5 minutes. Recently, a wolf was spotted, which is very unusual in our region, but apparently it just passed here during its migration to a more forested area. There is also an animal shelter about 20 kilometers away that has some confiscated circus bears, but I don't think that was a bear. Okay, so it's for the bonus file. When the night takes a dark turn. I don't think that was a bear either. Perhaps it was some exotic animal to the region, but it's best to practice safety when going out on walks alone at night, if at all possible, in your area. Carry protection. We'll never know of all the beasts and more that lurk out there. And who knows if a gun would even work on it, but it's better to be safe than sorry, at least take some precautions. And now time for the joke of the day. Do your socks have holes in them? No. Then how'd you get your feet in them? Yeah, there is one hole on each, the entrance of it. Although I think my socks have a few extra, so, I guess the answer is yes. Not a joke in that case. If you like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.